From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, House of Representatives to vote tomorrow on the State Police Bill, as Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu says the process aims to address worsening national security challenges. Senate directs security committees to investigate the killing of health worker Ojama Emir and worsening insecurity across parts of Benue following plenary concerns. The Federal Ministry of Transportation and the Nigerian Railway Corporation convey regret over the Warri-Takwe train accident near Agbo in Delta State, where the derailment caused 5 deaths. And President Donald Trump warns the U.S. will hit Iran hard today after overnight exchanges of strikes, while Iran's army warns of severe and wider retaliatory attacks if provoked.
On business news, Nigeria's agro-processing ambitions receive a boost as the African Development Bank commits $86 million to the program.
On sports news tonight, Somali referee Umar Artan receives a hero's welcome at the Mogadishu Stadium as he returns home after being denied entry into the U.S., where he was due to officiate at the World Cup.
From the nation's capital, over 100 Nigerians currently imprisoned in Ethiopia may soon be transferred home as both nations finalize necessary arrangements for a formal prisoner transfer agreement between them. We begin tonight with security matters as the House of Representatives says it will vote on the State Police Bill on Thursday, June the 11th, 2026. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, who doubles as the chairman of the Constitution Amendment Committee, was speaking with journalists in the nation's capital, Abuja, where he also says that voting is part of efforts to address the worsening security challenges confronting Nigeria.
We've always referred to the Parliament, the House of Representatives, as the solution hub, where hydra-headed problems of the country are presented and solutions given to them. Insecurity and legislative tool to cure it. Whilst we call the service chiefs to come and meet with us to dialogue, while we call Ministry of Finance, Budget Office, and all the rest of them, there is the need for us to use legislative tool to block the cab. And we said, as it is today, the structure which have been agreed to by the IGP and his team, national consensus has also arisen on it. The executive, they have bought into it. The governors have bought into it, that there is the need for state police. So we are here to announce to Nigerians that hope is coming, that hope to have a better response time to incidents of crime is here, that we have decided, though tough, that by tomorrow we'll be voting on the Constitution, and in that we'll be prioritizing state police. Yes.
And staying with the National Assembly, the Senate has passed for second reading 2 bills seeking to expand the number of judges in the nation's superior courts as part of efforts to decongest the judiciary and accelerate the dispensation of justice across the country. And the proposed legislation seeks to increase the number of judges of the Federal High Court from 70 to 90, while also raising the number of justices of the Court of Appeal from 70 to 110. Leading the debate during plenary today, the Senate leader, Opeyemi Bamidele, who sponsored the bill, says the measures were aimed at strengthening the nation's justice system. Our National Assembly correspondent Gloria Umezoki reports.
President of the Senate leads lawmakers into the upper chamber for the commencement of the second plenary session on a lively note. Reforms in the nation's judiciary dominated deliberations.
This bill seeks to discharge this constitutional responsibility by increasing the maximum number of judges of the Federal High Court from 70 to 90, to increase the number of justices of the Court of Appeal from 70 to 110. Also, to ensure equitable representation of all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory in the composition of the court.
Justice should not only be done, but should be seen manifestly to have been done. There is a need to support this bill that seeks to increase the number of judges in the Federal High Court for quick dispensation of justice in view of expanded jurisdiction.
There is also a need to look at the number of justices we have in our Supreme Court, all geared towards dispensing justice to Nigerians within the shortest possible time.
There is nobody opposed to this. It will help our judicial system, quick dispensation of justice, and also ensure that we decongest the courts as quickly as possible. Those who support that these bills be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Coming under Order 42, the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Abamoro, raised alarm over the worsening security in parts of Benue State and other affected communities. He drew attention to the murder of Mr. Ojama Emiye, a public health worker who was reportedly ambushed and beheaded on Monday, June 8, at the Igbobi Road Junction in Ikobi local government area.
Benue South Senatorial District is literally under siege. Igbobi Junction is a safe haven for armed herdsmen that frequently ambush road users. Can communities defend themselves against heavily armed herdsmen with bare hands?
But let me join him, pay respect to the person who was killed, and refer this matter to the relevant security committees of the Senate to take it up with the security agencies.
Elsewhere, the Senate concluded screening of Dr. Zainab Mawar, nominee representing the Northeast on the Niger Delta Development Commission Board. However, the committee had just wrapped up when smoke was noticed billowing from an adjoining room. A potential fire disaster was eventually averted following the swift intervention from lawmakers. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Now to security matters. The FCT Police Command has successfully rescued 5 kidnapped victims following an intensive joint rescue operation conducted in the Biazin area in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Acting on recent kidnapping incidents within the area, the Commissioner of Police, FCT Command, CP Ahmed Sanusi, led a clearance operation with a team comprising operatives of the Anti-Kidnapping Unit, the NPF Intelligence Response Team, and Kubwa Area Command in collaboration with local hunters and vigilante groups. The team engaged the suspected kidnappers in a gun duel that left 2 suspects neutralized and the arrest of one Iche Mohamedou and Abubakar Usman, while other gang members escaped into nearby hills with bullet wounds. The Commissioner of Police has appealed to healthcare practitioners in both private and public hospitals and members of the public to promptly report any individual presenting gunshot injuries or seeking treatment under suspicious circumstances. The House of Representatives has passed a resolution to define cognate legislative experience as contained in Order 7 and Rule 15 of the Standing Orders of the House as meaning members who have completed at least one full 4-year term. And this comes on the heels of controversy surrounding the claim by a first-timer, Representative Ikenga Oguchinyere, that 61 opposition members had endorsed him for the position of Minority Leader. The motion was moved moved by Representative Abajimi Benson, stating the need to prioritize institutional memory, deepen parliamentary stability and continuity, legislative experience, minimize avoidable turbulence, and promote mature representation of the Committee of International Parliamentary Associations.
You will recall that the bill was read the first time, an announcement coming from the... This is to announce to you. Police, can we please appreciate them?
And Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State and Director General of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors says the infrastructural and economic achievements of the administration of President Bola Tinubu in the last 3 years are a pointer that the president deserves another 4 years. Governor Uzodinma stated this at the National Mobilization Retreat of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors in Abuja, where he also disclosed that more than 4 million grassroots supporters are being mobilized nationwide to deepen support for the re-election bid of the president. Our correspondent, Dele Omoyeni, reports.
Political leaders, party stakeholders, and members of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors gather for a two-day national mobilization retreat aimed at strengthening grassroots engagement and consolidating support for the policies and programs of the Tinubu administration.
Renewed Hope Ambassadors.
Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, who is the Director General of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors, describes the retreat as a strategic platform designed to transform support for government policies into a coordinated national movement.
But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said no. He took the harder road because he knew it was the right one. He showed that courage at the top. That courage was demonstrated. Our job now is to carry it to the ground, to every doorstep, every market, every ward in this country.
Leaders of the group call on members to remain focused on communicating government achievements to the people.
Our message must resonate across every state, every local government area, and every polling unit. As we gathered in this esteemed space, we are reminded that the success of our mission hinges on our ability to act as a single, coordinated force, aligned in purpose and intent.
Our vision is to turn the Renewed Hope Ambassadors into a strategic instrument of national transformation. You have been chosen to be the engine room of this historic movement, and I have no doubt that you'll make us proud.
We must take the benefit of the reforms to the grassroots. That is the last mile. And he provided a way. He said, let us ensure that we have a program that can map the economic opportunities, the programs that we are undertaking in all the 8,809 wards.
National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Professor Nentawe Yolwatda, commends members of the organization for supporting the party's grassroots expansion drive.
What is your role as ambassadors? Identify those unique opportunities in each ward of your state. I can imagine the ambassador from Abia that knows the commercial architecture of Abia, know the artisans in Abia, and knows which one will work on clothes, which ward will work on shoes, which ward will work on different aspects. Identify the beneficiaries, twofold. Identify opportunities, identify the beneficiaries.
The retreat is expected to produce a national grassroots mobilization blueprint, strategic communication framework, and state-by-state action plan aimed at advancing the Renewed Hope agenda ahead of the 2027 general elections. Dele Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
The legal arm of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, has threatened to petition the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee against politician Kenneth Okonkwo over his defamatory and unprofessional comments. The group, NDC Legal Advocates for Ethics, led by Maxwell Opara, has accused Mr. Okonkwo of making reckless allegations against the party's 2027 presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, and warned that his actions could amount to professional misconduct. The NDC lawyers also issued a separate 48-hour ultimatum demanding a retraction and an unreserved apology, while also cautioning him against invoking ethnic sentiment to defend what they describe as unfounded political attacks, stressing that public discourse should remain responsible and evidence-based. This development comes shortly after Mr. Obi initiated legal action against Mr. Okonkwo, seeking 5 billion naira's damages over remarks during an appearance on Channels Television's Sunrise Daily program. In part two, after the break, the Federal Ministry of Transportation and the Nigerian Railway Corporation convey regret over the Warri-Itakpe train accident near Agbo in Delta State, where the derailment caused 5 deaths. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. House of Representatives to vote tomorrow on the State Police Bill, as Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu says the process aims to address worsening national security challenges. Senate directs security committees to investigate the killing of health worker Ojama Emie and worsening insecurity across parts of Benue following plenary concerns. The Federal Ministry of Transportation and the Nigerian Railway Corporation convey regret over the Warri-Itakpe train accident near Agbo in Delta State, where the derailment caused 5 deaths. President Donald Trump warns that the U.S. will hit Iran hard today after overnight exchanges of strikes, while Iran's army warns of severe and wider retaliatory attacks if provoked. We now bring you more on the threats by the legal arm of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, as it has threatened against politician Kenneth Okonkwo over his defamatory and unprofessional comments about the presidential candidates, Mr. Peter Obi.
We, the legal advocates for ethics and integrity, we are challenging Kenneth Okonkwo today, being 10th of June 2026, to produce the person who said that he gave P2B 10 million naira. That aspirant who said that he gave P2B 10 million naira for him to get the ticket. So I'm challenging them now this afternoon, and I'm assuring the person who said that you gave P2B 10 million naira, or the leader of the party, Senator Henry Siriake Dixon, money, or the national chairman money, to come up with your evidence. I will give you, we are going to offer you free legal services to recover your money. So we are calling on you to, one, to retract that statement and apologize to P2B. Where you fail to do that, we shall be taking you to Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee. Of course, you know the implication. When a lawyer is making a criminal allegation without evidence, you know the implication.
The economic impact of the Warri Federal Constituency delineation dispute is deepening as Ijaw women from communities across Delta State have intensified their protest by shutting down more key oil and gas facilities in the region and blocking the Baramatu waterways. The women, who are demanding the implementation of the INEC ward and polling unit delineation report, have vowed to sustain the action until their demands are met, warning that continued delay could further disrupt oil and gas production in the region.
These women appear to be relentless in their resolve to move from one flow station to another in the creeks of Delta. The oil and gas installation belonging to the NPDC is shut down as hundreds of women move from one flow station to another, forcing the shutdown of operations at several oil facilities. Their anger is a result of the delay in the implementation of the redelineation of wards and polling units in the Warri Federal Constituency, a process already concluded by INEC.
If you not come out, then we not go come out for this for you. We need peace. We not go come out for us today. Why not do what we want to do for this Nigeria? Why make us come from our village? So we need peace.
They take their protest to the waterways, blocking movement along the strategic Baramatu and Escravos river channels. Carrying placards, the women form a human barricade across the river, stretching ropes and placing tires on the waterways to prevent vessels from gaining access to the Escravos River and other adjoining channels. The atmosphere is peaceful, yet the women appear resolute as they sing protest songs, dance in their canoes, and repeatedly declare that no vessel will be allowed access until the INEC delineation report is implemented.
We are calling on federal government, state government, and international bodies to beg INEC to do the needful. The Ijaws in Warri Southwest are not minorities. We are majorities, so we are begging INEC to do the needful. Let's show now opening to many places. Since INEC say not the biggest what we want our web, we not to open this place. And we go get there, anybody who wants to say any business, but anything at all, we go stop them.
The latest action follows the shutdown of several oil and gas facilities, including Olero Creek and Opuama flow stations, as well as other installations affected during earlier demonstrations across Baramatu, Ogbe-Ijo, Egbema, and neighboring Ijo communities. With vessels stranded on the waterways and oil facilities remaining shut, concerns are mounting over the implications for production activities and government revenue if the standoff persists.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has commenced an investigation into the accident involving privately operated aircraft that reportedly landed on a roadway in the Ogwashiuku area near Asaba in Delta State. According to preliminary reports, the aircraft conducted a missed approach while attempting to land at the Asaba airport before touching down on the roadway. All 4 crew members on board safely exited the aircraft and were transported to Asaba by road with no injuries reported. But the NCAA says the aircraft later departed the location, returning to Lagos without obtaining the required regulatory approval. The authority has since grounded the aircraft, placed the flight crew under review, and suspended the operation and operator's permit pending further investigations. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, has told the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja that former Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika allegedly presented an aircraft belonging to Ethiopian Airlines as a proposed Nigerian heir shortly before the end of the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The allegation was made today by the 12th prosecution witness, who is an EFCC investigator, Christopher Odofing, while intensifying and testifying before Justice S.C. Orji in the ongoing trial of Mr. Sirika and 3 others over alleged abuse of office and misappropriation of public funds exceeding 2 billion naira. Mr. Sirika is being prosecuted alongside his daughter, Fatima Sirika, his son-in-law, Hama Sule, and Al-Barak Global Investment Limited on an amended 6-count charge. The EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale in a statement said during his testimony, Mr. Odofing told the court that the aircraft displayed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on May the 27th, 2023, was chartered from Ethiopian Airlines solely for a 3-day static display bearing Nigeria Air livery. And we turn our attention to the health sector now, as the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, says that the government's strategy of working closely with state governments to address malaria based on their specific needs is yielding positive results. Professor Pate made this known at the 2026 edition of the Leadership Development Course on the Science of Defeating Malaria in Abuja. He says the prevalence of malaria has declined, with the government is now expanding access to affordable primary healthcare services, among other things.
3 years ago, we had a rethinking malaria effort here in Abuja, and RBM was here. We just stepped back and looked at this whole landscape. And in the context of, after that, we then crafted this effort, the strategic plan that is fit within our context, with the costing of that, the subnational tailoring, because what is happening in Zamfara, what is needed in Zamfara is different from what will be required in Bayelsa. Looking at the various facets, the data, what data we need, not only the epidemiological data, the program data, the genomics data, many of those new tools that are needed to sharpen our understanding of the disease in our own context, but also how do we link with other countries in the sub-region. So those are the shifts that we've begun to undertake in the context of malaria elimination in Nigeria. And I think we're beginning to see results. I think almost a third-fold reduction if you compare 2010. Many of our states are moderate transmission states. We don't have any in high transmission, high burden states. Those are indications that it is in fact possible. It is not easy, but it is possible.
I would say that we're making progress with 15% prevalence. We really need to sustain the effort so far. So in the sustaining of this effort, we need, science. We need to understand, the science of this infection and how to implement. We also need to discuss innovation, R&D, in terms of malaria, the vector.
The Federal Ministry of Transportation and the Nigerian Railway Corporation have expressed deep regret over the train accident that occurred on the Warri-Itakpe rail corridor near Agbo in Delta State. According to preliminary reports, 4 coaches capsized and 1 derailed, claiming the lives of 5 persons, including 4 adults and an infant. A total of 482 people comprising passengers, crew members, security personnel and service providers were on board at the time of the incident. Rescue operations involving the Delta State government, emergency agencies and security operatives were completed on the same day, and authorities say 24 serious injuries were recorded, while several others are still receiving treatment. The NRC has commenced full investigation into the cause of the accident. It is now working to identify all victims while providing support to the affected families. Our thoughts and prayers are with those who lost their lives. In part 2, when we return, Nigeria's agro-processing ambitions have received a boost as the African Development Bank commits $86 million to that program. And that's in business news. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. We head to the nation's capital, Abuja now, where Gloria Omezuke is standing by to bring us more on the news at 10. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Anne. Now, more than 100 Nigerians serving jail terms in Ethiopia may soon be transferred to the country as Nigeria and Ethiopia conclude arrangements for a prisoner transfer agreement. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, arrived in Addis Ababa for the signing of the pact, alongside the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi. The Nigerian delegation was received by Ethiopia's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and the country's Chief of Protocol. According to the minister, the agreement is scheduled to be signed on Wednesday. She also disclosed that 4 Nigerian inmates died during the lengthy process of negotiations judicial reviews and ratification of the agreement, identifying Kalita Prison and Abbas Samuel Prison as the facilities where the affected Nigerians are being held. Mrs. Odumegu Ojukwu described the agreement as a product of the long-standing relationship between Nigeria and Ethiopia, anchored on humanitarian considerations, justice and bilateral cooperation. The age of promises without performance has come to an end. And that's according to the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, at the commissioning of the 8-lane dual carriageway from the Life Camp Junction to Ring Road 3 in Dape District in the nation's capital. The Vice President represented President Bola Tinubu at the project's commissioning, where he also applauded the road project and other infrastructural projects in the FCT, and urged residents to pay their taxes and other fees accruing to the federal government to witness more development in the territory. Our correspondent, Kumbi Aboluwade, reports.
The Life Camp district in the nation's capital now wears a new look with the construction of these 8-lane dual carriageway from Life Camp Junction to Ring Road 3 in Dape district. Dignitaries such as Vice President Kashim Shettima, lawmakers and top management staff of the FCT administration converge on the project site to witness the official commissioning of the road, which was flagged off in September 2024 by the FCT administration. The completion of the road project is expected to enhance security, improve connectivity, and overall socio-economic impact in the nation's capital.
When you ask of telling people what is government, they'll look at this, see government. It was not there before. They don't know what's called government before, but now they know what is called government. See road, see infrastructure. That is what is called government. Without infrastructure, nothing is called governance at all. It does not exist. The people of FCT cannot. And I challenge anybody in this FCT who can come out to say, we don't have the impact, we don't feel the presence of government.
The words of President Bola Tinubu were also relayed to FCT residents by the Vice President, who represented the President as the special guest of honor at the commissioning.
This road is a reminder that Nigeria is on the move. We are reforming, we are building, we are delivering, and we will not be distracted. We will not slow down. We will continue to prove, project after project, that the age of promise without performance has come to an end. To the residents and business owners enjoying this transformation, I urge you to meet your obligations, pay your taxes, pay your land and ground rent fees. Your compliance empowers the FCT administration to build more roads like this one.
After his speech, he proceeds to commission the project. The FCT administration has vowed to maintain the momentum of promoting development in the nation's capital, as several other projects are scheduled for commissioning in the coming days. From the nation's capital, Kumbi Aboluwade, Channels Television News.
Over to the education sector, the need for stronger digital governance in an increasingly connected world has been highlighted as technology continues to reshape human interaction, commerce and governance. This position was made by the Vice-Chancellor of Bayes University, Abuja, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, during the university's 7th inaugural lecture. Our correspondent, Benny Ork, reports.
Bayes University, Abuja, is hosting its 7th professorial inaugural lecture, bringing together academics, students, members of the governing board, and other distinguished guests. The event began with an academic procession led by principal officers of the university, members of management, and representatives of the governing board, setting the stage for a ceremony celebrating scholarship and intellectual inquiry. Welcoming guest, the Chancellor of Bayes University, Mr. Yusuf Dati Baba Hamid, reaffirmed the institution's commitment to academic excellence and research while congratulating the lecturer on attaining a major milestone in his academic career.
Today also presents us
with a particularly unique and gratifying circumstance. We are privileged to witness our own Vice Chancellor in a role that predates his current office and indeed forms its very foundation.
He holds advanced degrees from the Ivy League University of Leeds. The citation of the lecturer follows, highlighting his academic journey, research contributions, and service to the university community. Delivering the inaugural lecture titled, How Your Village People is Following You, Mobility, Memory, and Immediate Persistence of Belonging, the Vice-Chancellor of Beige University, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, examined how digital technologies continue to shape identity, relationships, and the sense of belonging in modern society.
The idea of the village here is not the village that one ordinarily sees. The village I'm talking about, I'm using the village as an anecdote for origin, the beginning point, the point of departure, the point at which all migration, all mobility, all movement begins. Technology has made the village possible. The village is flexible, it is movable, it is right in our pocket, it is in our wallet, it is in our head, in our memory, as the case could be.
He noted that while technology has expanded human mobility and connectivity, it has also created new challenges around identity, memory, and digital presence.
There are new geographies of belonging, and of course, these geographies also help us, to move with our villages. We are moving. We are not carrying the villages along. We are not carrying the points of departure along, but it is moving with us at the level of memory, at the level of identity, at the level of belonging.
The lecture ended with a call for individuals and institutions to embrace the opportunities of an increasingly connected world while promoting responsible digital engagement and preserving a sense of identity and belonging. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
The company news, Access Holdings PLC has held its group's 4th annual general meeting in Lagos, with the company reaffirming its long-term value creation strategy and reporting a profit before tax of 1.007 trillion naira for 2025. Speaking to shareholders at the AGM, Chairman of Access Holdings, Mr. Agboje Ige Imokwede, says the group is prioritizing balance sheet strength, disciplined growth and sustainable earnings over short-term performance. The chairman also clarified that the non-payment of dividend aligns with regulatory requirements and compliance consideration within the banking subsidiary. The group confirmed progress in strengthening governance and leadership continuity during the year, including the appointment of Mr. Innocent Ike as Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, as well as the addition of Mrs. Ibirunke Adeyemi as an independent non-executive director.
5 trillion of earnings, 50 trillion of assets, 1 trillion of profits. But more importantly, the returns on equity, the earnings per share, and also more importantly, the quality of service during this interaction. Somebody said that despite having the largest number of transactions, we have the lowest cybercrime failure rate. That's what I'm talking about. When we looked at this statistic, I didn't look at it just for Nigeria, I looked at it globally. And I took so much great pride in the young men and women, people like you, who are making this thing happen with the technology available to them. So this is the story you're going to be hearing, how Africans are doing tremendous things under or using this Access banner.
And that's it from the nation's capital. It's over now to Will Ibong in Lagos for business news.
Thank you, Gloria. Now, the African Development Bank has committed $86 million to support Nigeria's Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program. That's a key initiative aimed at boosting food production and agricultural processing. The funding will be used to develop processing facilities, reduce post-harvest losses, and improve links between farmers and markets. The program is expected to attract private investment, create jobs, and raise incomes in farming communities. The FDB says the initiative will also support Nigeria's efforts to reduce food imports and build a more competitive agricultural sector. As Nigeria's adoption of solar energy products grows, concerns are emerging over distortions in the value chain as Chinese manufacturers increasingly supply directly to the market while also selling to retailers and end users. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, RIA Abubakar Aliyu, says the trend has intensified in recent years, prompting calls for policies to strengthen Nigeria's local solar value chain and reduce import dependence. He made the remarks during an interview on Business Morning earlier today.
We are working developing a local content policy in the renewable space, where we looked into what, for example, countries like Ethiopia, in the last 3 years, Ethiopia wasn't manufacturing any renewable equipment, but now they are the biggest manufacturers of renewable equipment. We have seen what India did also to reverse the importation and dependence on Chinese manufacturers. The same thing with Thailand. So we looked into that and we crafted a Nigerian concept looking at the uniqueness of the Nigerian situation. And this is something that is undergoing review by the private sector, by the financiers, by the renewable energy service companies. And at the right time, the Honorable Minister would have a stakeholder engagement to review that local context and localization policy, which once we agree on it, it will now be sent to the Federal Executive Council for approval. So this is something that is at the top burner of the Honorable Minister of Powers table.
Now let's take a look outside Nigeria, where inflation in the United States rose to 4.2% year-on-year in May, the fastest pace in 3 years, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report. The increase was driven by higher energy and gasoline prices linked to global supply pressures, while core inflation, excluding food and energy, rose more moderately. On a monthly basis, prices increased by 0.5%, in line with expectations as households continue to face higher living costs. The data reinforces expectations that the Federal Reserve will maintain a cautious stance on interest rates in the near term. And back home now, we're checking with the domestic equities market, which maintained its bullish streak for the third straight day. Here's Larry Williams with the highlights of today's session.
Well, we see today the midweek trade did not disappoint, continuing for the bullish trend we've seen from Friday. And it's another telco giant rising today, just like yesterday, from one telco giant to another, 800 naira per share. That level has been reclaimed, not as big as the 10% gain. We saw that with the Airtel jump, about 1% gain. MTN Nigeria will take that today. For the sectors that we track, banking, that's a lone laggard. For the sectors, First Holdco, Zenith Bank dipped today, countering the gain. And we saw with, Access Holdings, they had their fourth AGM today. So I guess investors felt comfortable with what they saw, with the stock gaining. All right, so we have lower volume and value of trades, compared to yesterday's. But for the midweek trade, the bulls sustain.
Thank you, Ladin. And let's see the closing numbers for other major stock markets around the world. And that's business news. I am Bill Ibang. This back to Anne for more on the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. Outside our shows, President Donald Trump has said that the United States will hit Iran very hard on Wednesday, and that's today, after the two sides exchanged strikes overnight. Let's join Simon Pusey for more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The United States says it has carried out a series of strikes on Iranian military and surveillance sites in response to the downing of an American helicopter in the Gulf. US Central Command said air defense systems, ground control stations and radar sites were targeted near the Strait of Hormuz. There were 2 pilots involved, President Trump wrote. Both are safe and uninjured. Nevertheless, the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack. The 2 crew members survived and were rescued by an unmanned American sea drone.
Unfortunately, this ceasefire is beginning to escalate, and this is not what the administration wants. Trump truly wants a deal, and I actually think the Iranians want a deal. But until we can stop shooting at each other, nobody's going to come to the negotiating table. I've been saying for quite some time that the president needs to think about his kind of long-term strategic goals, and those should be, first and foremost, to get the strait open.
Police in South Africa have launched a manhunt after 12 people were killed in a mass shooting at an informal settlement in Johannesburg. At least 10 suspects, heavily armed with rifles, entered the Jumpers informal settlement in the suburb of Cleveland late on Tuesday night and opened fire before fleeing in a white vehicle. The motive for the attack, in which 9 other people were injured, is still being investigated. Members of the Jumpers community said the shooting may be linked to a turf war between groups of illegal miners living in the area. Illegal mining has been on the increase in South Africa, which has one of the highest murder rates in the world.
The incident happened approximately 23:10. And of which we were on this crime scene, of course. You could classify these people to be insane, heartless, barbaric.
Hong Kong authorities have charged 2 companies and 7 people over the devastating fire at the Wang Fuk housing complex last November. They were handed 25 charges, including manslaughter, conspiracy to defraud, attempting to pervert the course of justice, and tax evasion. The blaze, which killed 168 people, was the deadliest fire the city had seen in more than 70 years. Authorities said they had charged the project consultancy firm and main contractor, as well as individuals involved in the renovation, including the directors of both companies and the registered inspector at the consultancy. They have not named the companies and individuals charged. The man accused of killing 15 people in an attack on a Jewish festival at Sydney's Bondi Beach in December has been charged with 19 additional offences. Naveed Akram was already facing 59 charges after the shooting, including 15 counts of murder, 40 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of committing a terrorist act. The fresh charges are 10 counts of shoot at with intent to murder, 3 counts of causing wounding or grievous bodily harm with intent to murder, and 6 counts of discharging a firearm with intent to resist arrest. Akram has made a series of short court appearances but is yet to enter a plea to the charges.
It's not surprising. He was sort of aware of it on the last occasion, but a matter of this magnitude, it's not unusual for additional charges to be laid. So it's a process now that we've got to follow.
Scotland's First Minister John Swinney has described scenes as unacceptable after crowds of protesters gathered across Scotland in response to the Belfast attack. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered at locations in Glasgow, Edinburgh and Ayr. Meanwhile, the Chief Constable of the Northern Irish Police Force described last night's scenes as an act of self-harm by the people involved, describing violence as an insult to the victim and all those involved, including the member of the public who courageously stepped in to help. Hadi Al-Odid has been remanded in custody for 4 weeks after he was charged with attempted murder, threats to kill an NHS radiographer and possession of a knife.
My message today is one of calm, and don't allow those people that don't care about people here to incite hatred, to incite fear. Don't allow those people who are faceless to orchestrate campaigns and on the streets. I think that is something that I would want to underline from today's press conference.
And NASA has named its crew for its next major moon mission, Artemis 3, though the astronauts will not walk on the moon or go anywhere near it. The mission was originally planned as the first crewed lunar landing since Apollo 17 in 1972, with 2 astronauts due to set down near the moon's south pole and spend a week on the surface. But in February, NASA changed the plan and said the mission would fly only in low Earth orbit, barely deeper in space than the International Space Station, and dock with prototype lunar landers. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Portugal's Seleção has defeated the Super Eagles of Nigeria 2-1 in a friendly match played Just a moment ago, Pedro Neto put Portugal ahead in the 23rd minute, while Ako Adams leveled things for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Francisco Conceição scored the winning goal for Portugal after firing a shot past Super Eagles goalkeeper Maduka Okoye. Governor Deidiri has dissolved the board and management of Bayelsa United following the club's relegation from the 2025 and 2026 Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) to the Nigeria National League. The governor also sacked all members of the playing squad. These directives here take immediate effect as the state government begins a comprehensive restructuring of the club ahead of its campaign in the lower division. Let's head to the World Cup now, where thousands turned out in the numbers to give Somali referee Umar Artan a hero's welcome at the Mogadishu Stadium, airport rather, as he returned home after being denied entry to the US, where he was due to officiate at the World Cup. The deafening row of the crowd served as a powerful rebuke to the bureaucratic rejection that had kept him from the global stage, transforming his personal disappointment into a unifying moment of national pride. The cheers echoed throughout the stadium signaled that while he had been barred from officiating in the US, he had earned a far more meaningful victory in the hearts of his compatriots. In the meantime, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has described as unfortunate the case of the Somali referee Umar Artan, who was refused entry into the US. Gianni Infantino admits that a press conference on the eve of the tournament that FIFA does not control everything.
Unfortunate as well what happened to Omar, the referee from Somalia. But again, we don't control everything. We'll try, we'll discuss, we'll speak, we will see. Maybe sometimes it's good as well to just, chill, relax. We work on everything. We try to solve everything. Sometimes to immediately start screaming and shouting has the opposite effect of finding a solution. Believe me when I tell you, or don't believe me if you don't want, but we try always to find solutions.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Well, Haiti have been forced to change their kit's design just days before their World Cup openers against Scotland after FIFA banned a depiction of a war scene on the shirt, an illustration of the Battle of Versailles in 1803, which secured Haiti's independence, with the Haitian flag had been embedded on the shirts worn by the players in 2 warm-up friendlies in Florida. Colombian manufacturer Saita say that they have modified the kits to meet FIFA's regulations. And that's your sports news tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. It's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. The House of Representatives has announced plans to vote on the state police bill tomorrow. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawade. Good night, and please stay safe.